All right, here we are, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, children of all ages. We have the Smitty and Raj show again. We are back, my man Smitty. What's up? How you doing? It's Monday. Tomorrow is cut day, and we got some stuff to talk about. There's a lot of rumors with Jimmy Garoppolo. We're gonna talk about the NFC West preview. What's up, my man? How you doing?
What's up, man? Yeah, definitely ready to talk a little Jimmy G. Hopefully preview to what I'm gonna say. Hopefully this is just, a done and over with thing very, very soon. But tough to know what Shanahan's gonna do. I'm always bad at predicting what Shanahan will do.
Yeah.
And that whenever I'm wrong on some of our predictions, it usually has to do with me trying to predict what this man's thinking. So we'll see.
Yeah.
I'll be interested to know what you think.
Definitely. And you're right. Like we've sat here and we've discussed Jimmy like for weeks on ends and months, and we still don't know what the hell is gonna happen. Like your guess is as good as mine. What's up to everybody in the chat? Eric says is the 53 tomorrow. Yes, sir. We were gonna talk about that. So the cuts are due tomorrow at 4 p.m. Eastern, 1 p.m. Pacific. So we basically have less than 24 hours. We're literally less than 24 hours away from we figuring all this stuff out. Will Jimmy make the roster? I don't know. Everybody in the chat, what's up? I want you to put yes or no, a simple yes or no, if you think Jimmy Garoppolo will still be on the roster tomorrow past 4 p.m. Eastern. Let us know. So let's get into this. So today, Jordan Schultz, the Schultz report, he tweeted out. So he says, as of this morning, the 49ers had not made any more progress on a Jimmy Garoppolo trade. Sources say San Francisco would clear $25.5 million in cap space if he's released by tomorrow's 4 p.m. Eastern deadline. He says he's also told that John Lynch prefers not to face Jimmy Garoppolo with the Seahawks in week 2. Like, he doesn't want to face Jimmy Garoppolo. I don't know if there's truth to that. And also, I've been reading in and looking at this. His money becomes fully guaranteed if he's on the roster on the 11th, their first game of the season. So if he's on the roster September 11th, game day, week 1 against the Bears, he's fully guaranteed the $25 million. So that's a lot. That's a lot. I mean, so Jordan Schultz, basically, this is not a really shocker. There's no progress on a trade. Nobody wants him at this point. He's got the shoulder surgery. And if they release him, it's easier for someone to sign him. And then the fact that they're still contemplating keeping him on the roster, because John Lynch says, he goes, we're good, we're getting close. Kyle Shanahan says anything's possible. Jed York says, yeah, we'd love to keep him on this roster. So really, you don't know. I don't know what the hell's going to happen with this man. I think he's going to stay on the roster somehow, some way. I think he's going to stay on the roster. I didn't make him on my 53-man roster, but I sat there and I thought about it. I really think he's going to somehow stay on this roster, Smitty. I don't know, because maybe they're waiting to the last minute. I think they're going to wait to the very last minute tomorrow to see if they can try to make a trade. And if they don't, I think they'll keep him, and they'll say, oh, well, somebody will come and ask us to trade for him. I think they're going to try to keep him as long as they can. I don't know. What do you think, Smitty?
It's like the best way I can describe it is like it's like a claustrophobic feeling. It's like until Jimmy's gone, it's like this claustrophobic. This is not a knock on Jimmy. I'm not saying Jimmy's a bad guy. I like Jimmy as a person. He's a great character guy to have in the locker room. The players love him. I get all that, but like this team has decided to move on, and they need to move on. They need to crap or get off the pot. And I feel like Shanahan has miscalculated this thing the whole way. Like what are you doing at this point? What are you doing? Could have used this money to better this offensive line or this team. What is the point? Nobody's going to trade for him. And if anybody's going to trade for him, they're going to want you to take 10 million of the salary or you know what I mean? Like there's no way you're getting anything different than the Baker Mayfield deal where the Carolina Panthers literally said, take a $5 million pay cut. Also, you pay 10 million and then we'll pay 10 million or whatever the heck the deal was. It was something similar to that. There's no way the Niners are going to front any money because they can release him and him be free. And the draft capital isn't worth that amount of money. So it's not like they're going to be like, oh, well, let's pay a little of the money to get draft capital. There's just no way. There's no way. Ziggy's talking. Ziggy, stop. He starts talking, bro, out of nowhere. But I just don't see it as a. But then again, you look at what Shanahan does is head scratching. Every single time Shanahan does the opposite of what I think he's going to do. And this is why I'm so frustrated with Shanahan as a coach. Like, he's a great scheme guy. I take a lot of heat for not liking Shanahan as a head coach, because everything he does personnel wise, everything he does from a coaching perspective, not a scheming perspective, it's like 80% of it I disagree with. It's like, and I know everybody wants to love him, and this is a Niner show, and I get all that. So sometimes I try and hold back my true feelings about Shanahan. But Shanahan to me is
Let it out.
He's a 10 out of 10 offensive coordinator. And I think that bleeds into your overall perspective of how good he is as a coach, because a lot of coaching is offensive coordinating, right? So when he does offensive coordinating goodness, you're like, oh, see, Smitty, he is a good head coach. Yeah, but he's a good offensive coordinator. He's made horrible decisions, Raj, over and over.
Up and down.
Last year, all the decisions that led up to retaining Jimmy affected the team in such a crazy way. I just don't understand why everybody's so supportive of him all the time as a head coach, when it's his offensive coordinating that makes him amazing. And I'm not saying he can't grow. I'm not saying that Trey won't fix some of his deficiencies. Like I've said, the things he's bad at, Trey is good at, and they're a great fit. Like, bad play call once in a while, take your foot off the gas. Trey improvises, gets you a first down anyway. You're not going to even see the mistakes, but he's got to let him fully be unlocked. Like, he could stand in the way of this. I feel like he's standing in the way. He's standing in the way. Whether it ends up working out or not, currently at this moment, he continues to stand in the way.
Yeah, a couple of things on that. So I agree. Like, I like Shanahan. He's definitely better than, the dark days of Tom Sula and Chip Kelly. And, he has his moments. He's made some weird decisions, some personnel issues here. Like, he's not perfect. They've messed up a lot in the draft, but they've hit on, late picks, and he's really developed some good talents. Running backs, he's brought in some gems. Like, it's not all bad. He's really an innovative head coach for us. You're right. In the terms of his scheming, his offensive, genius and things like that, he's really changed the game for the Niners. He's a, very good offensive mind. As a head coach, he's still not 100% where he needs to be. He hasn't won a Super Bowl. He lost a big one a couple times. And I think he's going to learn from that. I think he has grown as a coach. But as far as the whole Jimmy situation goes, is he definitely, like, as somebody said it in the chat, I think Swaggy says, he doesn't have the balls to release. Like, sometimes it seems like they don't have the cojones to make the big move. Jimmy was on this roster last year with the young quarterback. Okay, cool. You keep him. You let Trey develop. You get him his 1 year on the bench as a rookie quarterback, and you keep the veteran. I get it, whatever. Then the injuries come, and then the shoulder surgery. And then this year, there really wasn't a reason to keep him on the roster, I feel. It felt like, okay, you already decided you're transitioning from Jimmy to Trey. You pretty much announced it to the world that Trey Lance is your QB1. Just do what you got to do. Like, I feel like he just wants to keep Jimmy for whatever reason, man. I don't know. Like, maybe he doesn't have the cojones to do it. And there's no disrespect to Jimmy. Like, I've respected everything he's done for this franchise. He's been a great person. He's helped change the culture. Like, we get all that stuff. A great person, a great locker room leader. Like, I get all of it. But I just, with Trey Lance coming up, he's a young quarterback. He doesn't need to be looking over his shoulder. He doesn't need to have Jimmy there. Like, you can't coddle him. You can't hold his hand. You let him go. You let him sink or swim. He's going to go through ups and downs. He's going to have some bad days. But you know how the media is. If Jimmy's still there, and if Trey has a bad day, which he's going to have some bad days, they're going to be like, oh, God, you have to bench him. You have to put Jimmy in. And we don't need that. We don't need that. We need Jimmy Garoppolo cut. Sorry. Sayonara. It's a business. Feelings will be hurt. It's the NFL. Guess what? It's a dog-eat-dog world. Tomorrow, Jimmy Garoppolo needs to be cut from the roster, and it's not because I don't like him. It's because Trey Lance needs to be the man without anyone behind him, like, having any pressure on him. Just fucking cut the man. Let him go. You've said your goodbyes. It sucks for some fans. Like, people love Jimmy. I get it. He's a great backup quarterback. I gave Trey Lance fails or hurts himself. Oh, at least we have a good insurance policy. No more. No. Cut your ties and let's be done with it.
And it's like again, logic. Okay, I'm taking a new approach this year when we're talking Niner stuff on here. I'm not coming out with this hard nose, always one stance anymore when it comes to predicting things like this, because I don't know. Logic would tell you a couple things, because this is what I would have said last year. I would have come out and said, Raj, he's getting cut. This is the reason why. I'll tell you why. Now I don't know because of Shanahan. I don't know, but logic would tell you don't give him the playbook. You don't let him really near the team. How are you gonna let him come back in the 11th hour and try and get up to speed? Like, and I'm not saying start, obviously Trey starting. I'm saying, but if you want him even in the number 2 role, how are you gonna, like, what that would be worse than everything else is to bring him back for that reason. You literally hampered the man. Now he can't even be your backup because he doesn't have a playbook, doesn't know, I know he knows football and he'll come in and learn it quick, but like, that would be the dumbest move of them all, is to bring him back after you've literally kept him outside and wouldn't even let him inside. Second of all, like, I'm pretty sure logic would tell me you're in Shanahan's doghouse. You're in it for a while. And this guy just completely neglected the entire team, didn't return text messages, was MIA, screwed the team over by waiting to have surgery and announce it on the combine, day of the combine. Like, I can tell you 100% that he's currently in the doghouse. All those things logically tell you there's no way he's staying. But I don't know Shanahan, and it would not shock me if he kept this nightmare going. And that's what it is. It's like a claustrophobic nightmare that you can't get out of. And it's like everybody in here, I think, just want, like, the day Jimmy's released, I think we're all going to be like 1,000 pounds off of everybody's, shoulders and just be able to breathe deeply because it's over. Everyone just wants it to be over. Rip the Band-Aid off already. Like, that's the way. But we don't know what Shanahan's going to do, honestly. Like, what are you going to do, though? Imagine if they keep him, Raj. What are you? Oh, here's your playbook, by the way.
Oh, weird.
It's not this thick anymore. It's this thick.
It's weird. Like, it's awkward. Like, you've made it awkward for Trey, but now you've made it awkward for Jimmy too. If he walks back in that locker room, okay, yeah, I get it. He's a veteran. He can figure out the playbook, but he hasn't been in any team meetings, bro. That's another thing. He hasn't been in any team meetings. You've alienated Jimmy, okay? Like, when I was at training camp, weird as shit. Okay, Jimmy's out there doing his practice, his throws. He wasn't out there most of the time with the team. Like, they're doing their drills, their practice. He came out early, did his, like, little running and stuff like that, and he did his little jog and his pre-stretch. As soon as players came out, he went to a backfield and was, like, alienated. So they kept him separated from the team. The one time where he came out when the team was practicing and he ran down the field, like, I was shook because I was like, wait, what's he doing out here? Why is he not in the back? Like, they've alienated Jimmy. It's weird for him, and it's weird for Trey because he's not trying to look behind his shoulder to find Jimmy. It's definitely a situation. I think for both players, it's just best that they cut ties. There's some people that commented, the Chiefs did this with Alex Smith. They cut him, and they let Mahomes be the guy. Like, and there's so many quarterbacks that have had that veteran in front of them, and then eventually they cut the vet. Like, you have to just let it go. Like, you can't have feelings. You just need to let it happen. Cut the cord, baby.
And also, like I know you're now a content creator, but back when you were doing the full-time PT thing, can you imagine, like, them saying, Raj, you got to wait outside. We're going to have some meetings. We're not going to give you the keys to the place. We're not going to give you any of the schedules or anything. We're going to have you come inside and kind of work in the corner, right? And then all of a sudden, after all that, treating you that way for 2 or 3 months, going to come in and go, okay, here's your keys. Here's your schedule. Like, Jimmy doesn't want to be there after all that anyway. Like, it's all uncomfortable. So there's no way I can envision this thing going that way. But then at the same time, Shanahan's completely, does things that I throw my hands up in the air. Like, keeping Jimmy, like, we said it on Twitter Spaces. We went in there and we told everybody, Jimmy will be on the roster. Watch. He'll stay on the roster. Up to this point, we were saying he'd be on the roster. He'd be on the roster. He'd be on the roster. And everybody's like, you're crazy. There's no way Jimmy will be on the roster past the March whatever deadline. Then it's in April. There's no way Jimmy, like, everyone has continued to say Jimmy won't be on the roster. So clearly none of us know what Shanahan's capable of doing. All the players that could have been signed with that money. And then you start talking about Seattle. Who cares about Seattle? And this, who is it that said that the Niners don't want to face Jimmy G in Seattle?
He reported that today.
Bro, nobody told him that. That guy's pulling that out of his rear end, bro. There's no Shanahan. That didn't come from Shanahan or John. They don't release any of that stuff. What's this guy talking about? Doesn't want to face. First of all, don't want to face Jimmy G and like what is he 8 feet tall? Like what are you talking about? Like Jimmy G in Seattle? No one's scared about Jimmy G in Seattle. Like come on. The only thing they're worried about is the playbook, maybe. But like at that point, who cares? Like you can't beat Seattle with Jimmy G or Gino or anybody. You don't really deserve to be a winning, record team anyway. You know what I mean?
Oh,
so
man.
Seattle's going to be in shambles.
I want to address some of these comments real quick, but can you imagine Kyle Shanahan is talking to Jordan Schultz? Is this the Jordan Schultz on the line? Yeah. Is this Kyle Shanahan? Yeah. Guess what? I got some insider news for you. I don't want to play Jimmy Garoppolo week 2 against the Seattle.
I'm scared.
Jimmy's going to Shanahan or John Lynch are going to give him that information. I don't know. He's speculating. I think everybody's speculating, but let me get to some of these comments, man.
Scared of them foot-long passes. I mean, come on, bro. Like what?
Ruben Diaz says Trey Lance ain't Mahomes. I didn't say he is, but the situation is similar when you have a young quarterback and a veteran ahead of him. You cut the veteran and let the rookie go. They did it last year in New England. They had Mac Jones and Cam Newton. They cut the cord on Cam Newton and they let Mac Jones rip it. That's what you have to do. Rip the Band-Aid, let it go. That's what we're saying. And then Jake says, y'all give up on this guy so fast. Like, let the guy develop and have faith in him. Isn't that what the fan base is based off faithful? Yeah, I feel like fans are just are quick to throw Trey under the bus. Like, they don't want to give him a chance. He's played 2 full games and some change. A couple preseason games, a half against Seattle last year, and people already given up. He played 3 drives in a preseason game last week against Houston, and everybody's ready to give up. And
which would have been a celebration had that PI had not occurred, because there was pass interference, and that's not me just making it up. Like it was 100% pass interference. If Debo had caught that ball, or they had got the PI yardage and the ball placement, and then they marched down the field and scored, everyone in here would have been like, Trey's the best. Oh my God, he's so amazing. That was like one, and you would have, should have, could have. But I mean, in a preseason game where you're getting just limited amount of drives, and then you're going to judge them off it. Like, why don't you judge the entire, potential picture, not just what had happened? So it's hilarious that people are even judging them when you haven't even given them a full game. You haven't even given them a regular season game. And I've seen people say put Jimmy in there. Kurt Warner, like, look, I love Kurt Warner. It was so hard to see Kurt Warner say what he said, because I love him.
No, actually, that thread he was actually defending Trey for. So let's go back to this is good actually. So first and foremost, the play to Debo, that 3rd down play. If he connects to Debo on that play, the whole, like you said, the whole narrative is switched. Everybody's hyped up. Everybody's like, oh my God, Trey Lance, Debo, the deep ball. Like everybody would be bricked up out of their mind. Like I'm telling you, everybody would be so hyped up on Trey. But the fact of the matter is they missed on a play. And then Trey didn't score it. He didn't lead the team to any scores, whatever. O-line was bad. We've already discussed that game. But the fact of the matter is everybody's like, oh, he missed Ayuk. If you rewatch the game and then, hindsight's 20/20, you got these couch GMs, they're analyzing the game and they're saying, oh, look, you had Ayuk coming over on the drag route. You should have hit Ayuk. But when you have a go route on the outside, press man coverage with your best receiver on the outside, you're going to make that read. You're going to make that decision. That's the best player. That's the best move. And it was a predetermined snap, most likely. And that's what Kurt Warner was saying. Like, any quarterback would have chose to go to Debo right there on a scrub cornerback, Steven Nelson. Like, Steven Nelson doesn't make that play 9 times out of 10. That was the 10th time. And Kurt Warner says you make that pass to Debo.
Right.
And it's that pass to Debo. Everybody's losing their mind, man. Losing their mind. So everybody, of course, they're going to sit there and say, oh, you got to make, he's not going through his progressions. That was the play. That was the read. You have to go and hit your best player man on man against a lesser opponent. And that's exactly what it was. And what they're saying. And then somebody asked him later in that thread, I love that thread because he was going at casuals that were telling Kurt Warner, a Hall of Fame quarterback that's been to multiple Super Bowls, how to play NFL football, like what to look for. This is Kurt Warner, a Hall of Fame quarterback, And he did say I would keep Jimmy Garoppolo on the roster.
I didn't like that part. I didn't like that part. Like,
I didn't like that either.
I feel like when you get like a Montana or a Warner or somebody that comes in and says something like that, like, I feel like it's not productive. Like, we're in this situation. There's no way anybody's reeling this back. So I felt like, Kurt Warner, even if Kurt Warner felt maybe like that would be the case, I hate when those things get out because then people start running with it and then it's negativity and stuff. Like, there's no way. Like I said, it's like when you bought your house and your parents say, I don't really like this neighborhood. Like, you've already bought the house, like, what good is that going to do, Kurt? Come on. But I love Kurt Warner. That doesn't change how I feel about him, but I think he's wrong and that Jimmy should be the guy. But you know what? It surprises me he said that because he was inexperienced. He was shoved in his first game. When he first went in, he did very badly in the beginning of it, and then he turned it around and then never stumbled ever since. So I don't know why he wouldn't, out of all people, be like, watch him, wait on him. It's going to happen. Like, doesn't matter if he's young, doesn't matter if he's inexperienced. Like I think Kurt Warner, I was expecting Kurt Warner to have his back in that aspect, but look, it's Trey season, whether people want to believe it or not, and Shanahan's going to live and die by it. So if Shanahan's going to back out of it now, like, that's why I think Jimmy G can't be on this roster, because if he has to resort to Jimmy G, his job's pretty much on the line at that point. Like, he's on the hot seat. He could be fired for going back to Jimmy G and admitting failure on a big move that mortgaged a lot of the future of the Niners, draft capital. So, like, I don't think Shanahan wants to put himself in a position where he's tempted to go in the direction of Jimmy G. But again, I can't predict Shanahan. But if he ends up, if let's say Jimmy's on the roster and you end up starting him and you go back to him or whatever, Shanahan's like beyond the hot seat at that point. You've mortgaged so much and you're proving you're already giving up on your project and you're wrong. Like we've always said, once he gets out there, you can't take him off, and they've already kind of toyed with the idea of taking him off because he kind of got out there against Houston and won and looked good. So they can't do it again.
No,
logic tells you they got to release Jimmy.
This is tough, man. You're right, because this is a lot that goes on Kyle Shanahan. And if he makes the wrong decision and if they fail and falter, he's going to very well be on the hot seat. Maybe not this season, because if he goes the whole season with Trey and they kind of stumble and maybe don't go as far as many people think they can, he can say, hey, this is Trey's first season as a quarterback. But if he keeps Jimmy out there and there was like all this weird dynamics going on, people might say, hey, look, your decision making was poor. You put yourself in this position. You did quarterback juggling act. You need to figure this out. And that could be his indecisiveness, because he's indecisive in games too sometimes. He takes the foot off the gas, at times when he doesn't need to. So this could very well, if this whole situation doesn't pan out in a couple of years, I mean, Kyle Shanahan definitely going to be in the hot seat. But I think he needs to really make this commitment. And I know he's already said Trey Lance, he's QB1, but you need to solidify it and do what you got to do, man. And again, there's no slight to Jimmy, but you just have to make the move, like man up and stick to your guns. Let Trey be the guy and just do what you got to do, because the other issue is, with Trey Lance, he needs to continue to develop his chemistry with these receivers, like the whole Debo thing, right? That was more of a timing thing. You need Trey to be focused in on his receivers. Him and Brandon Ayuk have a great chemistry already. Him and Kittle need to be locked in. Like, he needs to be locked in with these players and not have to worry about what the whole quarterback decision is and not what the media is about Jimmy Garoppolo. Like, just make the move and let it go, So there's another issue, because there's a lot of people that are sitting there and they're speculating, is Jimmy going to go to Seattle or whatever? Wherever he goes, he could go wherever he needs to go. It doesn't matter. Once he's off the roster, that it shouldn't concern the Niners. Like, okay, if he goes to Seattle, that's on them.
He's not a Giants. If he's a big threat, why you would keep him? You know what I mean? But it's like let's say this sweater. Okay, you got the sweater on and you commit. I'm going to commit to getting rid of the sweater. Okay, let's say the old lady's like, I hate that sweater, whatever. Okay, this is Shanahan. Okay, I'm getting rid of the sweater. This is Shanahan. Okay, sweater's off. I'm not wearing the sweater anymore. This is Jimmy G. Let's go. Let's go out to practice, and let's go. Let's go into the season. He's still wearing Jimmy G around his shoulder. He needs to make a move.
It's crazy. It's like, when you're trying to get something to eat and you ask, like your girl, you ask somebody and you're like, the person that you want to go eat with, and then they don't know. They say you pick a place, and then you're like, no, you pick a place, and you guys go round and round in circles, and he's like pissing each other off because nobody won't make a decision, and then you finally go and get something to eat, and both of you guys are pissed off because it's not what you really wanted, and the other person's like, well, we should have got this, and you're like, why didn't you just tell me that? And you know what I mean? That's what we're doing, going around in circles. Everybody's upset. They won't make a commitment, make a decision, man. Just get it over with. I'm tired of Jimmy. Not because I don't like him, but I'm just tired of the man. Just
move on.
This season, they've let this drag out for so long, man. It's crazy. Drew says the Niners front office is so indecisive. That's exactly it. They're so indecisive, Smitty. Make a decision. Make up your mind. Figure it out.
Yeah.
He's crazy, man.
I got about 5 to 7 more minutes. You want to do like record predictions for the NFC West, and then I'll have to jump. But you want us to do predictions for each team on the year?
Let's do it. Let's go to do our record predictions, and then after that, I'll answer some questions. I'll get to this, Batcher. Don't worry. I'll get to these comments later. We're gonna talk Jaquaski Tartt and a few other things once Smitty has to bounce out. Okay,
so let's do this. So we'll do your prediction and then my prediction. So what's your prediction on? Let's start with the Rams.
Oh, okay. Let me pull up their schedule real quick. Do you have their schedules up, Smitty?
I won't have probably time to go over that because I only have 5. So if you want to do numbers,
yeah. Let me. I know it,
but I don't have their schedule off the top of my head. No.
Okay, let me pull it up real quick because I know I have. I just want to kind of take a look here. So we have first game is against the Bills. Oof, that's tough. Against the Bills, the Falcons. They got the Cardinals. We got the Niners. We got the Cowboys. They got the Rams. They got the Niners again. They got the Bucks. They got the Cardinals. They got the Saints. They got the Chiefs. The Seahawks. The Raiders. The Green Bay Packers. The Broncos. The Chargers. And the Seahawks. I could see. Let's see. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. We'll say 8, 9, 10. I'm gonna say between 10 and 11. Maybe I'm gonna say they go 11-6. I say they go 11-6.
Rams.
Yeah.
All right, 11-6. I'm gonna go. Let's see here. $12 and 5.
You got them. You got 11-6 on that. It said, 12 and 5. So you got them 12 and 5. Okay.
Yeah, 12 and 5 for the Rams.
Okay. Who are we on now? Niners?
Yeah, go Niners.
My season projection for the Niners is also 11-6.
Yeah, I'm feeling like that's a possibility. I might even. I'm not feeling 12 anymore. Not because I don't believe in the team. I just don't. I feel like you're starting off a little bit behind because of Shanahan. Like, to be honest.
Not only that, but the O-line is a little questionable. We don't have Jimmy Ward for a few weeks, and they always find a way to lose some close games. Man, I hate to say it. I have them at 11-6. It's a tough schedule, and I think I did have the Rams prior to today at about 12 and 5. But I think they're going to go 11-6. Matt Stafford's got some arm issues. He's the real one with arm fatigue. Everybody's going to be keen on.
He's definitely got arm fatigue.
Yeah, he's got some issues. I mean, they've lost some players. Jalen Ramsey's recovering off of off-season surgery. Aaron Donald is getting a little older. He's great, but I mean, he's a helmet toss away from getting suspended again. So I think the Rams, they're going to have a little bit of a Super Bowl hangover. 11-6 is not bad for a defending Super Bowl champion.
No. Okay, so I'll let you lead off with the Cardinals.
Well, let me pull up their schedule. I know they have a tough schedule. I know we talked about this before. I think I had them at
toughest schedule in the NFL.
I think I had them at 9 wins, but let me just double check the schedule real quick, and I want to kind of go over this real quick. So we have the Chiefs, the Cardinals, the Panthers. That's a win. Eagles might be a win. Seahawks, that's a win. Saints, Vikings, Seahawks, Rams, Chargers, Patriots, Broncos, Buccaneers, Falcons, and the Niners. I see you guys have 9 wins, 9-8.
It's such a tough schedule.
And you know, they don't have D-Hop to start the first 6 games. Even though he's washed up, he's a big-time part of that offense. You know, I had to throw that in there, Smitty.
I'm going to go 10. I'm going to go 10-7.
10-7. Wow.
Yeah,
Okay.
I think it's a tough schedule. I really do. And I think I had him at 9 wins before, but I like the way Kyler's turned things around. I'm feeling a little extra motivated. Kyler's looked, like a little bit more of a leader, and I'm excited for that. But we'll see. I mean, Hollywood Brown, Hopkins, I mean, that wide receiver room is pretty stacked when Hopkins comes back. So
comes back, I think it's going to be an improvement. But for those first 6 games, Kyler Murray has to show up. Can he be the guy that earned that big contract? He got paid big, Smitty, a massive contract this offseason. Yeah. Will he earn it? I don't know, man. I don't know. I saw what he did in the playoffs, and he kind of folded. He threw a temper tantrum. I know you think, and we kind of thought that maybe he matured, he developed over the offseason. I still see him as crybaby Kyler Murray. And until he figures it out, like, I can't see him winning a lot of games without D-Hop those first few games. It's going to be rough. I got him at 9 wins. I think they'll finish strong. They'll start a little slow. Last year it was the opposite. They started slow. They started strong. They finished slow. But Cliff Kingsbury, X Factor, I know you don't like Kyle. I think Cliff Kingsbury's a bum of a coach, man. And as much as I hate the Rams, McVay's a good coach. Kingsbury's, I don't like the guy. So I think they're as good as their head coach. And Kyler, their combo, the quarterback coach combo, and I think they're not 9 wins is generous for the Cardinals this year. It's a tough schedule.
It's the second toughest division in the NFL, so I'm not surprised. I wouldn't be surprised at all if we've got double-digit wins, for the first 3 of these teams. Yeah. But Seattle, I think we can agree, is not going to be better than Arizona.
Yeah.
They're definitely not going to be a division or a wild card team.
This is a year for Seattle, for Niner fans and Cardinals, for the NFC West. This is, I think, the year the Seattle Seahawks take a dump, and they might be. I mean, Geno Smith, quarterback 1. Even if they had Jimmy Garoppolo, with the talent on that team, they don't have like elite talent. They've lost a lot of play. You lost Bobby Wagner. They've lost some talent all across that roster. Their O-line is in shambles. You lose Russell Wilson. The reason why they won games was because of Russell Wilson.
Yeah,
I have Seattle winning 6 games, and that's being nice. 6-11.
Yeah, you're being real nice.
I am.
I got them 5-12. I feel like I'm being nice.
5-12. I love it.
Yeah, they got. I mean, the problem is the Cardinals do the Cardinals even have a shot at the third wild card spot, or even the second at a 10-7 record?
No, I think they have a shot because the NFC is still wide open. It's not like there's the Buccaneers, there's the Packers, there's the Rams, there's the Niners, and then there's just a bunch of teams jockeying for position. Maybe the Saints. I don't know. The NFC's, and you got the Cowboys and the Eagles. They'll be in the mix. I think the
Cowboys will be in. I think the Cowboys will grab one of the 3 spots, to be honest.
Yeah, I agree.
But I don't know, man. It's going to be it's a tough division. It's a tough division. The Niners are going to grab one of those wild card spots, but again, I think that's a good position to climb from. I think you want to be the underdog. Like, look how good it felt. It was great walking into each game, coming out of the tunnel. You guys felt like you were underdogs. You were going to go just come out there and show everybody, prove everybody wrong. So I think that's a good place to come from with Trey learning.
I like being the underdogs as the Niners because I feel like that does give them a little bit more motivation. They play with a chip on their shoulder. They relish the underdog role. Going back onto this, our little prediction. So I have the Niners and the Rams tied up at 11-6. It's going to come down to basically head-to-head tiebreaker and points and things like that. So I feel like there's going to be a game that they play against each other, and whoever wins those games against each other gets the NFC West the crown. I could see maybe the Niners going 12-5, or maybe the Rams going 12-5, and that's going to be the deciding factor. So whoever wins heads up probably wins the division. So I think it's going to be close. And this is the thing: the Niners had 7 players named to the NFL top 100, and this is why I'm not worried about Trey. Like, look at the roster. You saw that top 7 or the top 100 countdown. Whether we like the rankings or not, we talked about this yesterday. Whether you agree with who was ranked where, the fact of the matter is we have Kyle Juszczyk, Jimmy Ward, Fred Warner, Nick Bosa, George Kittle, Deebo Samuel, and Trent Williams on this roster, plus many more. Trey Lance is in a very, very comfortable position on this team. Now they just need to kind of let him, help him along the way. He doesn't have to be elite in his first season. Josh Allen, right, a couple of years back when he was a rookie, they made it to the playoffs. He had a pretty bad rookie season, but they still made it very far, considering the fact he was a rookie. And I think as he got better and he learned, they got even better, as a team. And now they're one of the favorites. So I think Trey can replicate that success. He has a solid team around him. They'll kind of carry him a little bit. And they did it with Jimmy. They carried his ass to the NFC Championship and the Super Bowl. He didn't even throw a touchdown in a playoff game. Like, there's 3 playoff games. He didn't even throw a touchdown.
Yeah.
They made it cool. It's
going to be a good year. It's going to be a good year. I think Trey's going to be hard to hold back as long as he stays healthy. He needs to stay healthy. He'll be hard to hold back. He just needs to get in a groove, and he's a great decision maker, proven in college. You don't score 42 total touchdowns and have 0 interceptions, and not be a good decision maker.
Yeah, I agree. I know you got to leave soon real quick, but last question I want to get to. Angel Leon says, what if Jimmy goes to Seattle? You think they still only win 6 games?
I mean, maybe they win 5. 5 or 4. Like, what is it? Why is everybody's assuming that I think Jimmy G's an upgrade over Geno Smith? You guys got to be out of your minds, man. Like, first of all, Geno Smith knows the offense. Geno Smith can run the ball. Okay, Geno Smith's a better quarterback for Seattle than Jimmy G, coming in and learning a new offense and trying to stay healthy for 17 games. Like, come on. Like, and that's part of the problem. It's like, even if Jimmy stayed, at what point does he get hurt and leave you in the same position with Trey Lance with less experience and lesser grasp on the offense? Like, Jimmy G's not playing 17 games anymore, especially coming off those 2 injuries, one of which, Raj, you said yourself, he needed surgery the moment it happened, and he played on it with his thumb. So it's like, I don't think he's going to walk out of that, okay, 8 games from now, 10 games from now. I don't know. But no, Geno Smith gives the Seattle Seahawks a better chance for 6 wins than Jimmy G.
Wow.
I'm sorry.
I think they win just as much with Jimmy Garoppolo, to be honest, because you're right. What's to say that Jimmy could play a full season? He couldn't play a full season with the Niners. I don't think he's going to make a full season if he were to go to another team. Like, he's fragile, man. Like, handle with care. That's one of the reasons they had to get rid of Jimmy, is he can't stay healthy, man. And it's, unfortunate. I mean, he does have some good qualities. That quick release, it helps if you have a crap O-line. And I think with Seattle having a very bad O-line, Jimmy and his quick release would probably be, okay there. But, they have 2 big receivers, Tyler Lockett and DK Metcalf. But do I see them winning more than 6 games? No, because their team is not good. They don't have elite players on both sides of the ball. So
yeah. That was a good question by Mimi. I didn't mean Mimi. I didn't mean for that to come out like it was a bad question. That's my answer to the question, but it was a good question, and a lot of people share that question. So I didn't want Mimi to think that was my reaction to her question. So good question.
That was a great question, and I think everybody's had good questions. I love the YouTube channel. Everybody has good takes, a lot of good comments and stuff. I try to get to everybody's as much as I can. So Mimi says, what's your opinion on Jimmy? Do you think the 49ers are trying to keep him as a backup? We did discuss this. Me and Smitty both said at the end of the day, you can't predict John Lynch and Kyle Shanahan, and nobody really knows. Everybody's speculating. Schefter, Rappaport, it's just all speculation. Honestly, I wouldn't be surprised if they kept him at this point. I really wouldn't be surprised, because here we are a day before cut, and Jimmy Garoppolo is still on the roster. So I wouldn't be surprised if they somehow kept him.
Wouldn't be shocked if they start. Like, Shanahan wouldn't surprise me. He could literally put this man in the line. Like, that's why I don't trust Shanahan with that. I know he's not going to. I know Trey's starting week 1, but like, what if an injury happened to Trey and he you know what I mean? Like, I don't want to even face those potential scenarios where this man can't let go of this Jimmy G sweater he's got wrapped around his neck, and he can't throw the sweater away. He took it off, but he's wearing it. He's carrying it. He's cradling it. Like he just won't get rid of it. And I fear that the logical part of how could he keep him when he won't even give him the playbook, won't even let him inside the building practically. He's outside standing by the gate. He's just out there like hands in his pockets, whistling, walking outside. Like you got to open the door right before week 1 and be like, you're a backup quarterback. Like here's the playbook. Yeah, I know you're used to a playbook this thick. Now it's this thick. Study up. You know, you got 1 week to learn this
video. Have you ever seen that video of Jamal Adams when the doors close on the Jets? Like,
yeah.
And he's trying to walk in, and the doors. Jimmy Garoppolo trying to open the doors down on Levi Stadium, and it's closed.
How are you going to bring him back? Like, it's a great question, Mimi. It's a great question, and unfortunately, I don't know the answer. I refuse to act like I know the answer to any question that relates to what Shanahan's going to do, because Shanahan will do it. Shanahan, for all we know, Shanahan will start Brock Purdy in week 1. Like we have no clue what this man's capable of at this point.
You can't predict what Kyle Shanahan's going to do.
No. And you certainly don't know what he's thinking. So these reports of like, yeah, Shanahan's scared to face, Jimmy G in week 1. He's not scared to face Jimmy G in week 1. All right, I got to get out of here. Appreciate you, Raj.
Hey, appreciate you for jumping in, Smitty. The Raj and Smitty show, you know how we do it. I appreciate you. So I'm going to let you head out, and I'm going to finish up the show. So,
all right, later, everybody.
All right. So that was Smitty dropping in for a little bit. We had our little show scheduled for today. So always appreciate Smitty. He's always a fun dude. Go check him out, Fantasy Football Show. If you guys aren't, go follow him. But I'm sure you guys are because you follow me and you know Smitty. But let's get to some other topics. I think one thing I wanted to talk about today is basically Jaquiski Tartt. Let's get to the Jaquiski Tartt news. So somebody had commented. Let me go back to it. So 49er Dog, what's up? He says, Tony Jefferson just got released. Should we pick him up? And this is a good segue into the next topic of Jaquiski Tartt. So he got released by the Jets. Tony Jefferson got released by the Ravens. The Niners need some safety help now because they do have an injury to Jimmy Ward, and it's pretty substantial, right? Pretty substantial. He's going to miss at least 4 weeks. He's going to be on the short-term IR. I think Jaquiski Tartt would be a good sign. He's been on this team, for several years. 8 years he was with the Niners. He knows the system like the back of his hand. You wouldn't even have to teach him anything. He'd be able to come in right away and play safety, and he can probably be effective for you. And I know a lot of people are still upset over the fact that he dropped that interception in the NFC Championship. But you know what? One play doesn't define Jaquiski Tartt. I think he was a solid player for this team, a very good veteran over the years. He just always struggled with injuries, and he was a good, effective safety for the team, a good leader, a good veteran presence for the locker room. I think he would be able to fill in for Jimmy Ward very nicely for the first few weeks. I know he's not really the same position at Jimmy Ward. He's a free safety, but I think because he knows the system so well, he should be able to come in and help out. I think he's better than Tashaun Gibson that they signed, this a couple weeks ago, the veteran. He's a newer guy to the team. I know he's a veteran, but he still has to kind of catch up to speed. Jaquiski Tartt wouldn't need any updates. He knows the system. He knows the team. He knows all the players, right? So at the end of the day, I think Jaquiski Tartt would be smart to bring back on a 1 year, on a 1 year deal. He knows the locker room. It'd be a very easy transition to bring back Jaquiski Tartt. So if they put Jimmy Ward on the injured reserve, which they will after tomorrow once he makes the roster, I think once Jaquiski Tartt clears waivers, which I'm sure he will, I think the Niners should bring him back. I don't know. What do you guys think? Do you think they should bring back Jaquiski Tartt or Tony Jefferson for that matter? He played on the team before. I like Jaquiski Tartt better. I think he's a little bit better. I think Jaquiski Tartt's very underrated. I think people hate on him because of the fact that I think they hate him because of the fact that he dropped that interception. He dropped that interception. So I like Jaquiski Tartt, and I think they should bring him back. The 49ers have just released Donovan West. They just announced. The 49ers have released Donovan West, offensive lineman. Let's get this up. Donovan West has been released. Breaking news. He'll probably be on the practice squad. I will pretty much guarantee you that. He played good in the offseason. and he was nice with it. He looked good. He looked good for a little bit. So let's get this out there. Let's see. I don't know if the comments are loading, but it doesn't look like they're loading out there. Let's see. It doesn't look like comments are loading, but that's my take on Jaquiski Tartt. I think I'm going to end it there. We're going to get this news. We're going to go post this news about Donovan West, and I'll probably be back live with Smitty a little later tonight, maybe on Instagram or whatnot. But I hope you guys had a good good day so far. That's our show for today. The Niners have just cut Donovan West. We'll go post this news up, and enjoy the rest of your Monday. You guys take care. Roster cuts tomorrow. We're going to have a lot of news to talk about. So go ahead, hit that like button, subscribe, and let's go Niners. Bang, bang. Niner gang.